about the some introductory part, and here we are going to discuss about the basically one and only about the gastric secretion, and in next part we further continue about the pancreas or the different glands. So let's see the gastric secretion. The gastric secretion is the secretion mainly produced by our stomach. And what is the total amount of the gastric secretion? I already discussed in the previous topic, that is the total amount is 9 liter. 9 liter of the total fluid produced. 9 liter is the total fluid. 9 liter is the total fluid produced per day. Per day 9 liter total produce of the secretion by the GIT, and out of that 2.5 liter is secreted by the gastric, it means the stomach. And the pH is basically, the pH is 1.523. Normally the pH is acidic in nature, that is 1.523. What is the source of this secretion in our gastric secretion? What is the main source? What is the main source of this secretion in our stomach? So here an important term, that is gastric gland. Gastric gland is situated in our layers of the intestine. As we discussed in the previous topic, there is a layers like the serosa, muscularis externa, that is after that we can say submucosa and mucosa. So these glands are situated into the that mucosal layer, and that is the, we can see, mucosal and submucosal layer. These gastric glands are the flask shape. These are the flask shape like this, we can see like this. So this gastric gland is flask shape in a structure, and in next we can see what are the this flask shape structure is going to secrete. What are the main components of this flask shape cell? So the flask shape cell is having 6 different types of cell. There is having 6 different types of cell is present in this flask shape structure. We can see this flask shape structure here at a glance. In a one picture we are going to see this all the 6 structures, and we can see there is the first one, second, we can see, sorry, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. So these are the all 6 structure, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. These are the all 6 structure which are present in our gastric gland, in the one gland which is situated in our mucosal epithelium of the stomach, and after that we can see mucosal, submucosal epithelium, and there is just 6 different types of cell is present in the one gastric gland. What is the first cell is called as? The first cell we can see there is a surface cell. Second cell is we can see the neck cell. Third cell is parietal cell. Fourth cell is enterochromaffin like cell. Then we can see chief cells or G cells. In one line we can say like this. These all the cells are situated in one gland, that is gastric gland, and this is also called a gastric pit. And the first cell, that is surface cell, we can see the first cell, that is surface cell. First cell, surface cell, is going to produce something that is called as mucus. So the mucus is produced by the surface cell, and this mucus is having rich of HCO3, that is bicarbonate. They are rich of the bicarbonate ions, and they are going to produce something in our stomach, that is neutralization. It means this acid what the produced by our gastric pit gland cells in our GIT is going to neutralized by this mucus. So the surface cell is main role to produce mucus, and they are going to neutralize in the further action, they are neutralizing the acid. So the main role of surface cell is neutralizing the acid. Simple. Next one we can see the parietal cells. What is the main role of parietal cell? We can see the parietal cells have produced gastric acid. Gastric acid means HCl. The HCl is produced by which cell? Parietal cells. Parietal cells producing the gastric acid means HCl, and they are also going to produce one more intrinsic factor, that is the Castile intrinsic factor. This Castile intrinsic factor is having main role into the absorption of vitamin B12. So what is the main role of the Castile intrinsic factor? Is going to absorb the vitamin B12. So the first we discuss surface cell, next one is parietal cell. Parietal cell is the gastric acid secretion, that is HCl, and second one is intrinsic factor Castile secretion. It is for the absorption of vitamin B12. Now the third one we can see, second or the third one, that is mucous neck cell. Mucous neck cell, or we can say the neck cell. Neck cell is the folded. They are situated like this in the folds of these glands, and this neck cell is going to a stem cell. They are going to produce the different cells of the gastric gland. So what are the 6 different types of cell is situated in our gastric gland? They are going to produced by the neck cells. So neck cell is a stem cell, surface cell is a mucus secreting cell, parietal cell is the intrinsic and acid producing cell. Next, fourth one we can say the enterochromaffin like cells. The enterochromaffin like cells is also called as ECL cells. These ECL cells or enterochromaffin like cells, they are going to produce histamine. We can see the histamine is going to produced by, this is the inflammatory substance, this is the inflammatory chemicals which is going to produce inflammation. So this inflammatory substance is produced by the enterochromaffin like cells, but here the role is different in our stomach. The role of the histamine in our gastric glands or in our stomach to help in increases the acid secretion. They are going to produce the acid secretion. So the enterochromaffin producing the acid secretion help. Next, fifth we can see there is a chief cell. Chief cell is also present at the base of the gastric gland. What is this structure? This is our gastric gland, we can see, and this is the apex, and here we can see base. So the base is contained by the chief cell, and chief cell is going to produce pepsinogen. Chief cell is going to produce the pepsinogen. If any hormone is having at the end with gen means simple, we can see the gen means simple, they are the inactive. This enzyme is inactive, and if any enzyme like we can say the chymotrypsin or trypsinogen, carboxypeptidase, these are the enzymes which are secreted by the different glands, but leave it. We are going to see here the chief cells which is going to produce pepsinogen, and this is the inactive enzyme. This pepsinogen enzyme is secreted by the chief cell. This is present in our base of the gastric gland. Next we can see the cell number 6, that is the G cells. G cells is present in mostly in the antrum of our stomach. Suppose that here we can see this is our stomach. In the antrum part of the stomach we can see here basically these glands are present, and this is the antrum. This is the antrum part of our stomach. So this G cells is going to produce, this G cell is going to produce gastrin. So what are the 6 different types of cell? What are the 6 different types of cell we are going to see here? They are producing the different secretion. First one is surface cell, second one is we can say the neck cell, next one is parietal cell, enterochromaffin like cells, chief cells, and the G cells. Now we are going to see here the most important cell is the parietal cell or the secretion of HCl. We are going to see in the detail. So let's start. Before we are going to discuss the parietal cell, let's read some important points. The parietal cells produces intrinsic factor of the crystals that is helpful into the absorption of vitamin B12. Yeah, it's easy. Next one, we can see a disease is developing here, that is pernicious anemia. What does it mean, pernicious anemia? Basically here, against the parietal cell in our stomach, against the parietal cells of the gastric pit, there is a developing the antibodies are developing against these parietal cells. Antibodies are developed, and that is called as autoantibodies. These antibodies are developed, and these antibodies are called as anti-parietal cell antibodies. These anti-parietal cell antibodies leads to there is a absence of acid. It means the acid is not produced because these antibodies are going to affect the parietal cells. The acid is not produced, and the term when the acid is not produced is called as achlorhydria, and this leads to there is not also absence of the what? Crystal intrinsic factor. If the parietal cell is inactivated, it means the absorption of vitamin B12 is not happening. It means it also leads to the anemia, because vitamin B12 is more essential for the maturation of our RBCs. So it's most important to know there is a person is developing the autoantibodies or the anti-parietal cell antibodies against the parietal cells. It leads to the achlorhydria and anemia, and the condition is called as pernicious anemia. It means the patient is having pernicious anemia developed. Next we can see what are the role of these parietal cells here. We can see the 3 structure. In this we are going to discuss parietal cell, mainly the main cell of our GIT in the stomach. We can see there is here is the blood vessels. Next one is we can see this is the parietal cell, and this is the lumen of the GIT. This is the lumen of GIT. This is our parietal cell, and this is our blood vessels. We can see down. So what is the happening here inside our parietal cell, inside the GIT and inside the blood vessels? We are going to start from the basic here. Look here, this CO2 is present in our parietal cells. This is the parietal cell here. In this parietal cell, the CO2 is produced by the different types of mechanism. Like we can say, in each and every cells there is a requirement of energy, and after the etc or the all the cycles will be happening, they producing energy and CO2. You know, from there, from the biochemistry, the CO2 is available in all the cells. This CO2 is combined with H2O. This CO2 is going to combine with H2O, and they forming H2CO3. This H2CO3 is called as carbonic acid. It means we can say like this CO2 is present in each and every cell from the initial, I told you, from their metabolic action, and H2O is present also in the each and every cell. So the parietal cells also having the CO2 and H2O. This CO2 and H2O are going to combine together in the presence of a special enzyme, that is CA, carbonic anhydrase enzyme, and they are going to form H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. They are going to form what? Carbonic acid. And after that, after some times, this carbonic acid is going to split into two structures, that is H plus ion and the HCO3 minus. HCO3 minus is also called as the bicarbonate ions, and this bicarbonate ions is having going somewhere after some time. Leave it for now. We are going to see H plus. What is going to happen with H plus? This H plus is going upward, and they are coming into the lumen, you know, from the initial. This is the lumen here. They are coming into the lumen like this. So this H plus is here now. So this H plus is moving from the parietal cell, from the their intracellular activity, or from, we can say like this, from the intracell they are moving outside. Extracell means outside. They are coming outside, extracellular region. So this is coming through a special type of channel. Look here, this is the special type of channel present here. What is going outside? That is proton. It means hydrogen. That is also called as proton pump. It's so simple. And this proton pump is most important here. This proton pump is most important here because the H plus and K plus ATPase is the another name of this proton pump. So what is the another name of H plus and K plus ATPase? Is the another name of proton pump. Why their name is H plus K plus ATPase? ATPase is basically due to the ATP is utilized in this action. Why the K plus is here? Because when the H plus is coming outside, the one ion is also moving inside. One ion is also moving inside, that is potassium. So the channel name is, one ion is coming outside and one is going inside the cell, that is called as exchanger, something like exchanger. So there is exchange is happening. H plus is going out and K plus is coming inside. So their channel is also named as proton, or we can say hydrogen potassium exchanger. Hydrogen potassium ATP user, that's why their name is hydrogen potassium exchanger ATPase. So this name is the proton pump or hydrogen potassium ATPase. Now what is happening with this H plus outside? So till now H plus, we are going to see this H plus is situated outside the cell. What is happening to this H plus? This H plus is coming outside, and leave it for now. Next we are going to see about the H2CO3. What the H2CO3 is going to do here? Let's see. This H2CO3 is moving to the different area. Now we are learning some different terms here. What is the apical end or basal end or the basolateral end of the any cell? If the any cell in our body towards, what is the end of the cell is towards the blood vessels. In the any cell, what the ends of the cell is going to towards or near the blood vessels is called as basolateral end. What is apical end? Apical end is always exposed to the some areas, exposed to the some lumen, exposed to the some areas. Simple. That is apical end. So H plus is moving towards the apical end, but the H2CO3 is moving towards the basolateral end. We can see the basolateral end. So let's see in next how the H plus HCO3 minus is going to moving out. See this. Next we can see this HCO3 is moving like this, and they are coming here. Here is the another exchanger is situated. We can see this exchanger is like this. Between the blood vessels and basolateral end of the parietal cells, this is leads to the HCO3 minus is moving inside the blood vessels, and this HCO3 minus is reaching to the blood vessels. Bicarbonates is inside the blood vessels, but here is also exchanger. This is also a type of exchanger. This channel, what the channel is used here to moving these molecules inside the blood vessels, is also going to exchange something inside, and that is chloride ion. So the chloride ion is moving inside the parietal cell, and the HCO3 minus is going into the blood vessels. So their movement is called as chloride bicarbonate exchanger. It's simple. Chloride is coming inside the parietal and bicarbonate is going inside the blood. So their name is chloride bicarbonate exchanger. Simple. And after that, this chloride is, we can see this chloride molecule, what the chloride molecule is coming inside the cell is going out. We can see here this chloride is going out again to the apical end, through the apical end, and they're coming into the lumen. And this Cl minus is combined with this H plus and forming what? HCl. So the how the HCl and Cl or H plus is going to form, and they are moving into the lumen. The Cl is coming from the blood by the we can say the chloride and bicarbonate exchanger, and they are moving inside the basolateral through the basolateral end and inside the parietal cells, and then coming into the lumen, and they combine with H plus. What the H plus is going to produce, where the H plus is going to produce in the parietal cells, and they are coming together and forming HCl into the lumen. So these are the main role, or these are the main function of these main transporters, like the chloride bicarbonate exchangers, or either proton pump, or either we can say there is the different channels or the enzymes we are going to use here for the synthesis of only H plus, and we can see synthesis of the HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. And next we can see in the every HCl produced, what the every HCl amount or the every we can say hydrochloric acid production, HCO3 minus ion is going to out in the blood vessels. They pushed into the blood vessels, and after that they are going to intake into the food. How you are going to produce HCl? HCl is going to produce all the time when you take any food in our body. So the HCl production is increases when the in our body, if the we take the food, so just the food hit the stomach, the HCl is going to production started. It leads to the amount of HCO3 minus in the blood also increases, because this HCO3 minus is from the parietal cell moving into the blood vessels, and that condition is called as postprandial alkaline tide. It means the alkaline, something bicarbonate is alkaline in nature, and this is going to enter in our blood vessels, and they increases the amount of the alkaline nature, and that is after happening after the taking food. That is called as postprandial alkaline tide. What is the main components, what are the main agents or the etiological factor which are going to increase our acid secretion, or we can say altering? It means either increasing or either decreasing. Altering means changing. They are going to changing our acid secretion. Either the acid secretion is increased or either acid secretion is going to decrease. So here we can see what are the main components participating in increasing the acid secretion, and here we can see what are the main components which are going to decreasing the acid secretion. So I already told you histamine. Histamine is going to increases the acid secretion in the first part. Next we can see the gastrin. Gastrin is also increasing the acid secretion, and acetylcholine neurotransmitter is also helpful into the increasing the acid secretion. How they are going to increase the acid secretion? Its main component here, or the main point to understand, this histamine is acting on the H2 receptors. The gastrin is acting on the cholecystokinin B receptor, and acetylcholine is acting on the M3 receptor of the our stomach. So these are the main mechanism, their action, and they are going to produce the acid secretion. Next we can see how they are going to decrease the acid secretion. There is if the acid is secreted high, we can say like this, the excess production of the acid in our stomach, it's a we can say that inhibits itself their secretion. So inhibits itself is called as basically negative feedback to yourself. So the stomach is sending negative feedback to yourself, so no more acid is going to produce. Next point we can see somatostatin. Somatostatin is the universal inhibitor. As we know from the basics, this is the points. The somatostatin is universal inhibitor. They are going to inhibit all the time, mostly. We can see the prostaglandins. Prostaglandins is also going to decrease the acid secretion. That's why the NSAIDs, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, are used in the case of prostaglandin blockers. They are acting as a prostaglandin blockers, and they are going to increase our acid. Why they are going to increase our acid? If we are going to block the prostaglandins, so what is the main role of prostaglandins in the GIT? They are going to decrease the acid secretion. If we are going to block these prostaglandins, they are leads to the increase in the acid secretion, and this increase the amount of acid secretion in our stomach. Increasing the amount of acid secretion, the higher amount of the acid secretion, it leads to the development of the ulcers in our stomach, or the ulcers in our duodenum of the small intestine, and this combined term is called as peptic ulcer. Peptic ulcer is as ulcers of stomach and duodenum. So these are the increasing of these leads to. That's why the NSAIDs are, we can say the NSAIDs are prohibited or the not used during these conditions. Next we can see what are the roles of the gastric secretion. The gastric secretion role in the lipids digestion, in the carbohydrate digestion, in the protein digestion. Basically out of these three components of our food, in the carbohydrate there is no role of any role of the digestion of carbohydrate of the gastric secretion. What is the lipid? In lipids, yes, in lipid the role of gastric secretion is present. That is, gastric lipase is secreted by the cells of our stomach, which is going to digest the lipids. What are the main components that is secreted by our gastric system, and that is going to digest our protein? That is pepsinogen or renin. Renin is the basically RENIN, and they are present in the mainly in animals, mainly like the cows or the lower animals. These animals is having renin for the digestion of different types of proteins. But in our body, in humans, there is a pepsinogen. This is secreted by your stomach, but this is not activated in the stomach. This is going to activate it in our duodenum, or this is going to activate it and form the pepsin. This inactivated gene is converted into the pepsin by the active form by the HCl. This HCl, what the HCl is secreted by our GIT system, is going to convert this inactive form into the active form. What is the enzyme? Any enzyme for the digestion of carbohydrate in the gastric? No, there is no any enzyme is for the digestion of carbohydrates in our stomach, nothing. Next we can see what are the gastric phase secretion. We can see the gastric secretion in the three phases it's happen. That is cephalic phase, gastric phase, or the intestinal phase. What is the amount of the secretion in our GIT is produced by the different glands? But here we are going to see during the cephalic phase, if you think about the food, if you are going to talk about the food, if you are going to thinking, talking, or listening, we can say, and something is happening in our body. What is happening? Think. It's simple. It's happening about the secretion of saliva. Yeah, just we thinking, talking about this, they are leads to the secretion of saliva, and that time food is absent in our mouth. We are just thinking, we are just talking, not the food is present in our mouth. And during this time, the total amount of gastric secretion, what the amount of gastric secretion means, the stomach is going to secrete it, is 20% secretion is happening this time. Just thinking, just talking, just listening about these foods, 20% of gastric secretion is happening at that time. Next, about the gastric phase. What happened during the gastric phase? When the food intake to the mouth, and the food is going to hit our stomach, the food is going to reach to our stomach, there is a major secretion of the gastric glands. That is 60 to 70% of the gastric secretion is happening that time. Now what is the third phase of that? Intestinal phase. When the food reaches into our intestine, the 10% of the acid secretion is happening to our gastric gland. So this is the phases of the gastric secretion when our gastric glands or the stomach glands is going to secrete. When the cephalic phase, when the thinking, food reaches to the stomach or the food reaches to intestine. These are the three main phases of the secretion. In this part, I already told you, in this part we are only going to discuss about the gastric secretion, and we finished here about the gastric secretion. In next part we are going to see the different types of secretion, like the pancreas, bile secretion, or the different types of secretion in the digestive system. Thank you for the listening, and thank you for the listening to the RK Medicals. See you in next video. Thank you.